Live. Welcome to Random with Michie, Zambia's sweetheart. Yeah. Today's quite a day. I've been up and down. There's a whole lot lined up for me today, but I'm happy to get to this particular point at this particular juncture in time where we can have random conversations with industry finalizers. And as always, Instagram is letting me know that y'all are being let in so that we can have an interesting chat with our guest for the day. Now, I am super excited and I can't wait to get into it. Before I get into it, however, I must remind you that Let's Chat is sponsored by... No, Random with Michie, Zambia's sweetheart is sponsored by Let's Chat. Let's not get it twisted. Okay, so in case you're wondering how Let's Chat works, it works between feature phones and smartphones. So you don't have to have a smartphone to be on Let's Chat. You can send pictures, messages, you can be in group chats, all using Let's Chat. Now, if you have a techno, it's highly likely that your phone comes pre-installed with Let's Chat. If you don't have a techno phone, you have another phone, but you'd like to be a part of Let's Chat and you're wondering, how do I do that? And especially if it's not a smartphone, well, you can get to our friends Let's Chat on Facebook and they'll help you get set up, in short, in a nutshell, and you can join the Let's Chat family. All right, so let's get into it. Random with Michie, Zambia's sweetheart. In case you're new to this show, we do have conversations with industry firelighters across various industries. Now, our guest for today, I met very randomly because, random is the way that my life has been so far. Most of it has been extremely random. So it was during COVID times, right? And we have a friend in common, shout out to Lona Shawa. So she decided to gather us, like her friends, and do the don't rush challenge. You know, like the makeup brush, you throw it up, and then the next one, okay, you're going to get the brush from the side because the last one before you did the brush like this, then you get like this, and then, yeah, it was a whole thing, guys. We had so much fun. But anyway, she is super amazing. She's an industrial embroidery specialist, fashion designer, model. She is founder of a global sportswear brand, advocate for diabetes awareness, and of course, herself being diabetic. So she is diabetic why am I saying as well? English is hard, okay? It came on a boat, but let's get into our conversation. I know that she is ready to join us. Accept. Kaajal. Hope I pronounced the name correctly. Like, there's a thing about pronouncing names that are not like, There she is! Hello!
Done it. We've made it. We're not doing
We
a
are.
brush challenge.
We're not doing a brush challenge this time. I think my dog likes you. Yeah, so this is what it's like. Random with Michie, Zambia's sweetheart, there's a lot going on. So I'm a dog mom, and my dog is trying to get my attention, but we'll ignore him for now. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So where are you right now?
I'm in my room in the UK.
You're in the UK, yeah.
At the moment, yeah. I was in Lusaka last month,
Okay.
but I'm here at the moment. I am working here. I got stuck during COVID. I had everything running for me in the UK. I came to see my sister. It was February 2020, and I had a bag full of 3 weeks worth of clothing, and I'm like, yeah, holiday, next,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't go home. Like, I can't go home.
And it was that intense. You couldn't go anywhere. That was it.
It was honestly, I think one of my most stressful times in life, because everyone went in their bubbles, and I mean, I've got family here, but again, everyone's gone in their bubbles. So imagine being in a different country and everyone's in their own little bubbles. It's cold, so you can't even go. Oh, that summer was nice, but it's not like how it is back in Zambia. You can't like sit in your garden kind of thing. So it was really tough. And I thought, okay, give it a month. Yeah. 2 months, 3 months. Yeah. At the 6th month, my sister's like, I think you have to think about living here. And I'm like, So I literally just took like any job that came about. They kept on changing. I think I went through 5 different jobs during that time because obviously my Zambian kwacha is not going to do much for me here in the UK. So I was like, I need to find a job. And I finally got a job, which I'm at right now. And so, weird middle phase because I still got a lot going on in Zambia too. So that's me.
So what job is it? Sorry.
So I work
What job is it
for
currently?
I work for the UK Health Security Agency. It sounds a little bit James Bondy. Um,
Yes, it does. Double O Y.
I'm
Yeah.
a business support officer, and it's a desk job. It's work from home, so it
Mm,
allows me to do my other things from home. And it's
mm,
really flexible. So I mean, I'm always doing my modeling bits where I can. All
mm,
the my clothing brand Diabetes videoing while I can. So it's
mm.
flexible enough to keep me going here while I'm still doing and pursuing everything else on the side.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, because you obviously wear different hats, but some of them are kind of linked, especially when it comes to the fashion aspect. You yourself coming from a family of fashion clothing icons. I mean, who doesn't know your family? And how do you structure the rest of it, especially the ones that are not so much interlinked? This is now me trying to learn how to properly go through adulthood and life and living.
Um, with difficulty. No,
Yeah.
I'm very good at structuring my days. So anytime I have a pocket of time, I will squeeze what I can. So as a diabetic, but also as a content creator about health and wellness, I will do my gym work between 7 in the morning and 9. Then I get home. I have my day job between 9 and 5. But in between, if there's some spaces, I will do my videoing for modeling because a lot of the audition tapes are
Mm,
self-tapes. So you don't actually go into castings anymore because of COVID. This is how they change things.
yeah.
Um, but then also in between those times, you don't always have tapes. So when work is quiet, I will go through my content for KC brand. Um, and then if I'm not working out in the mornings, I would have done a class in the evening. I do
Mm,
try my best to break down and not do a lot of things past 9 o'clock at night. But sometimes when
mm,
the creative mind is just going, I run with the energy. So
mm,
that's when I will do other content when I can.
mm,
I really should be a bit more structured with having like a plan to do it, and I am getting there. But
uh,
sometimes, with creative work, sometimes you just have to go with the heart, and the heart says, "Okay, do you know what? I have an idea now. Just do it."
yeah. Get
So
up. Let's do it. Yeah.
yeah, and then with City Clothing Factory, I run
Mm,
the embroidery department. So last year when I came to Zambia, it was a shambles because the girl I trained,
mm,
luckily ran things while I got stuck here, but then
mm.
she left and she didn't explain or train the next person. And I sat her
No
down
way.
via WhatsApp call because I would do WhatsApp calls with my staff all the time
Mm,
just to make sure
mm,
okay everything is running fine.
mm,
But she didn't really
mm,
give me any. She didn't. She just. I said, please wait until I arrive on Monday, and she didn't.
mm,
She just left. So that holiday became a full working holiday. I trained
mm,
more staff, but they have been absolutely amazing, like absolutely amazing.
mm,
Um,
mm,
and they picked up really well, bearing in mind they've not used computers or USB sticks before. So
mm,
train them on that. And so now what I do is, again, part of the creative work is they'll send me the logos that need to be digitized for the factory. And then I'll
mm,
say, okay, give me 5 days. And then maybe
mm,
one evening, I'll just blitz it out. Like was it last Saturday? I woke up early morning,
mm, mm,
between 8 and
mm,
11, blitzed out all the
mm,
logos, email them off. And then that keeps, because I understand production systems really well. I'm like, okay, that's going to take this
mm,
long to do a sample. That sample's going to take this long. They tell me where it is in production. So then I
mm.
know within a week the customer will get their pieces, or depending on what the order is. So
Mm.
I structure a lot of things before 9 o'clock in the morning and after 5, and then where I
Mm.
can in between during the day.
Okay, okay, cool stuff. So I just want to talk about family real quick. So you mentioned you've got a sister. How many siblings do you have?
So I have an elder sister and 3 brothers.
Uh-huh.
And there's a
An
10-year
elder
gap
sister
between
and
my
three.
brother and me. So as my dad says to everyone, I was the accidental child.
Okay. So in total, you're what, five? There's five of you?
Big
Are you
family.
the only one? Hmm. Are you the only one that sort of took an interest in the clothing and fashion industry?
Yeah,
Or is it everybody
we're
that's a
all
part of it?
we're all in the family, except for one brother.
Mm.
So my
Uh-huh.
siblings came to the UK to study. Um,
Mhm.
but one brother decided to stay back, and he's a clinical pharmacist, high flying job. He's doing his thing here. But all of the
Mhm.
rest of us came back at different stages in our lives.
Mhm.
And yeah, so my two brothers are there running it. My brother's there with his wife and kids. So my dad loves having, he's a typical Indian African man where they just love the
Yeah.
whole family just being together, kids, grandkids, everyone running around, even at the factory. All of us have grown up in the factory. I grew up there with my best friend. We would play the bales of fabrics. My sister's son, same thing. He has a scar on his head because he was running. And
No
I think he hit
way.
sewing machine tables. I know.
The memories, the scars to remind you of all those fun memories and not so fun memories.
Yeah.
But speaking of your childhood, let's just rewind and go back. Now, I know a larger part of what you do is spreading awareness when it comes to issues to do with diabetes. And this is because you yourself are a type 1, I need to get the wording right. Type 1 diabetic. How do you say it? What's the correct structure?
So the condition is type 1 diabetes, but if you have diabetes, you're diabetic.
You're type 1 diabetic. And I ask this because I realize that in the times that we're living now, when you don't have all the information about a particular condition, you don't want to say it the wrong way that might offend. And you're like, what's the politically correct term and whatnot. But let's rewind and go back, because I know that you got diagnosed, you received your diagnosis really early on in life. You were what, 4 or 5? How old were you?
I was 5.
You were 5 years old. Do you remember the actual details, or is it just passed on information at this point?
A little bit of both. I remember when I was 5, it was my sister getting married at the time, and so we'd come here because she was living here in the UK. Wait,
so you were 5 and your sister was getting married?
Yeah, because there's a 19-year gap between.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense, because I was wondering, I was like, okay.
So it was her wedding, and I remember we were here at the family house, cousins, everyone running around, and I remember my earliest memory was trying to steal chocolates from, because all the cousins were stealing chocolate, and I remember having one. I can't remember the full conversation, but I do remember my mom looking at me saying you can only have one, kind of thing. So I do remember there was something oh, you can't have as much as everyone else, but I didn't remember what was going on. But going forward in time and learning more about diabetes, they say that type 1 it's not genetic. It happens either, they still don't really have a real reason why it happens. Either it's like a viral infection and then it builds into something, i.e. diabetes, or it's something traumatic. So I'm trying to think, was I that traumatized that my sister was getting married and leaving the house? I don't know. But I do remember being in the UK at the time, and my mom telling me that I wasn't playing very much with my cousins, and I was always really clingy to her. I was weeing a lot. I was very irritable. And as a mom, she was like, "That's my daughter's not acting right." Moms just have a second sense, how without you can just tell. And went to the doctor, but they couldn't diagnose me because in the beginning stages of diabetes, it's called a honeymoon effect. So it's the pancreas is kind of breaking down and then it works. It breaks down. It's almost like a car is sputtering. And so according to the blood tests, I'm still making insulin, but I'm not making it fully. So came back to Zambia and went to school, and my mom was dressing me for school, and my uniform, my underwear would just drop off me because I'd lost so much weight. I was just not the most. This is from what I've heard from my mom. The only memory I have is what was happening around me. So then they took me to South Africa, and I remember going to Johannesburg, spending time with the family, friends there. And then next minute being in the hospital, and they diagnosed me straight away. They put me on insulin. I just remember the nurse, the way she gave me insulin, she must have stabbed it into my leg because I had bruises on my thigh. I do remember that. But I didn't understand what was going on. Okay, it's just something that I knew had to be done. It's not oh, am I just for a short time? I just knew, okay, this is the next part of life. My mom noticed straight away. She's like, you were playing, you were happier, brighter. And when my mom saw the bruises on my thigh, and I do remember seeing them on my thigh, she said to the nurse, I remember watching this, she says, teach me how to do it so I can do it for her. Those are the diagnoses.
So is then that what happened? Then you just get your shots from your mom at home?
Yeah. So after that, then we bought the insulin, whatever we needed. But bless my mom, that time obviously there's no internet. There's no like
Mm.
booklets, things in Lusaka. So she would like, direct phone South Africa, which was expensive, and also trying to
Mm.
ensure like the lines are working, etc. And she would be
Mm.
calling them saying, she ate this. This is what happened. And obviously, it's on a day-to-day basis, on sometimes even like a meal-to-meal basis. How are
Mm.
you going to uh, how can you call the nurse about something that you ate maybe 2 hours ago, but by the time they respond, it's already
Mm.
hitting your system because they've already gone high or low. So
Mm.
I give credit to my mom so much because she always wanted to be a nurse, and then she got diabetes.
Mm.
So I was like,
Yeah.
be careful what you ask for God, because God will give it to you, just you need to specify. So she became
Yeah.
so she was very, very,
Mm.
very good about it with meals. So she would
Mm.
inject me. She would make sure I only ate like brown bread, eat apples, and that kind of. I was told a high fiber, low fat diet. So
Mm.
I've never seen chocolate in my life. Like I hadn't eaten chips until I was like, I don't know, 20.
Mm.
So I've always eaten really healthy because that was all I was told.
Mm.
Yeah.
So with your four siblings, how did that then translate to their kind of diet? Did the whole
So
family just feel like, you know what, we're all switching so that no one feels different or left out? Or what did you have your own special diet and then your siblings and the rest of the family had
it
theirs?
was different because they were all studying in the UK. So
Mm.
because of an age gap, that time the schools weren't well, according to my family, like they wanted my brothers to go to boarding school, and then my sister, because she was born really early days, they sent her off to stay with an uncle because my dad was building the business, and so it was
Mm.
difficult to look after four kids and do all of that. But then
Mm.
because of my
Mm.
health, and because by that time I think the education system got a lot better in Lusaka, they decided to keep
Mm.
me. I actually grew up almost like an only child because everyone else was with
Mm.
uncles and aunts in the UK.
Okay.
So for me,
Okay.
I've always eaten well. I've eaten a very Zambian, Indian, lifestyle food, from
Mm.
footies to then shimas to, chicken that's just literally been cut outside.
Mm.
So I've eaten that way my whole life. Whereas my siblings, I don't really know what they ate. Like, to be honest, I only grew closer to them like when they'd come on
Mm.
holidays, or
Mm.
actually after like the age of like 18, when everyone came back, they started getting married,
Mm.
running the business. So I didn't really see them growing up like that. I would see pictures of everyone eating like, Christmas cake, and I'd be like, oh, what's that? Because we didn't have that. So it was a very different
Mm.
lifestyle and a very
Mm.
different way of eating. But I wouldn't change it for the world because of that organic life, I feel
Mm.
so healthy now.
Yeah. So somebody did say earlier, we fix it, said Happy International Nurse Day to all mothers with diabetic infants.
Oh,
Okay, thank you so much.
thank
Happy
you.
International Nurses Day. Nurse Day.
Lovely.
Mm. Yeah, so back to the conversation we're having, and then somebody else was lost and asking what we're doing. So this is Random with Michie, Zambia Sweetheart. We talk to industry lighters across various industries, and we have Kaajal today. I was worried about the pronunciation of your name. Kaajal?
Kaajal. You did a good job.
Kaajal.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Because when it's different, when it's a different name, when it's not a name that you see every day,
And
you're like, is it Kaajal? Is it, do
I've
I
heard,
over?
I've heard enough of that.
Yeah?
The best way to remind everyone is if you see the black eyeliner pencils on the side,
Mm,
black core is Kaajal. You'll see
mm.
Kaajal on the side. It's just the spelling. My mom wanted to put two A's. So it's Kaajal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Kaajal.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Got it. But in your journey with your condition, of course, learning more about it, learning how it affects you in various ways, did you ever get to a point where you felt kind of like, why do I have it? Like, why me? Why am I dealing with this condition? Did you ever, or was it just like a,
No,
hmm,
I think it because it happened to me so young. I just didn't know
hmm,
any different or any better. But
hmm,
looking back, like in the past couple of years when I've done campaigns for Diabetes UK and things over here, it had to get me to revisit certain times. And I do
hmm,
recall, and I try my best not to go back because I'm reading my book forward, not backwards. But I do use as a
yeah,
perspective. Maybe this is the reason why I do certain things in my life, which makes sense.
hmm,
But I remember when I'd moved schools, I went from Nkwazi school to ISL, And it was the first. Oh, there's my blood sugar thing beeping away. Sorry.
Wait, what's that? So what does that mean? What is it?
I beat myself like this. So this
Uh-huh.
thing when I'm outside of range. So because I ate just before this, my sugars
Uh-huh.
are a little bit higher than, so they're going a little bit higher than usual, but they will
Okay.
drop the insulin's in my body. It's just timing. So I have that to
So do
check.
you always have to have it on your arm?
So I have one here. So what happens is they only stay for 2 weeks. It's called a continuous
Okay.
monitor.
Uh-huh.
So it's continuously checking your bloods.
Mm.
Hence the name. But it
Mm.
only stays on for 2 weeks. So the next one I'll put on the arm this side. The technology is called Freestyle Libre. So it's mainly for type 1 diabetics because type 1s just have no insulin and anything can affect the sugars, whether it's stress, whether it's time of month, whether it's just walking, whereas a type 2, because there's a little bit of insulin being created by the body anyway, the body is still running at optimal to a certain degree. You can actually help it by walking that extra glucose off, or you can better. You can technically reverse in quotation marks the diabetes because you want to put less pressure on the pancreas, whereas a type 1, the pancreas is just not sending insulin whatsoever. So as a result, that's why the sugars go haywire. So that's why having a continuous glucose monitor will give you a better insight. And the good thing with this one is it'll tell you your sugars right now, but it'll also show the last 6 hours. So you will know, okay, what I ate at my last meal did this to my sugar. So maybe next time I should take more insulin, eat my proteins more first before the carbohydrate, things like that. So it gives you a little bit more context. Whereas with a finger prick, it just tells you now, and that's it.
Ah, okay.
See?
Wow. I mean, I'm realizing how ignorant I actually am. Like
But it's
I
not
was
even
living.
the information's not there. And this is going back to your question. I never felt why me. It just what bothered me is that people can't ask the questions or know any better if it's not there in front of you, or if it's not being normalized, So on my last trip, I launched my book and I was speaking about it at my school. Thank you.
ISL?
At ISL, yes. And what was so mind-blowing was that every other child knew diabetes, the word diabetes. And in my first speech, when I was speaking to the younger kids, they were probably, I don't know, between 4 and 6. And they knew the word diabetes. There I was using the word sugar disease. I was trying to make it as basic and simple as possible.
And they were just like,
one girl put her hand up. She's like, my cousin is diabetic. And I was like, oh. Whereas 10, 15, 20 years ago, that was never a word that was around, especially in Zambia. I mean, South Africa had the information, but that's South Africa. It's like it was not as how it's so fluid now. There, again, no internet. It was very difficult to get things in, to get information. So I think I didn't ever feel why me. I felt the effect of it. I felt very lonely. I felt very different. So I remember going to ISL and someone was having a birthday party, and just me being the jovial person, I'm like, hi, can I come to your birthday party? I was like 6, because I just wanted to know who was around me and because everyone was going to this party. And so I reluctantly said yes because she was just a bit of a strange girl. Yeah, she had a bit of an attitude even from that age. But that's just me. And I remember going to her house, and my mom had gone to her mom and was like, oh, here's her sandwiches, and this is, her food, because my mom didn't know what was going to be there for me to eat. And I remember just looking at me funny, and I just remember feeling really out of place, like, why can't I eat like everyone else? Or why is everyone laughing at me for wanting to eat what I'm only allowed to eat? And I remember there was another time we'd gotten some diabetic biscuits in, and my mom had told the teacher, please keep these separate for her. And one girl just came along and she didn't cover her nose and she sneezed all over it. And I'm like,
now you couldn't have them.
Yeah.
Like the one thing you could have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not even because, I want to have nicer things. I just can't eat anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So growing up, I just felt very out of place. And I just didn't want another generation of kids to go through that, because I still had questions, silly questions, even when I was like 20, 21. I went on a date with some guy and he's like, is it transferable? I'm like, we're 21, 20, we're 20 plus years old. Why are we asking these questions now in this day and age?
Yeah, yeah.
Thinking of like there's urban myths, there's lack of information,
Mm.
you start creating stories. And what would break my heart is when, especially in our local communities, Indian communities, Zambian communities, we because we don't know about it, we don't talk about it. And then you're like, okay, I'm just gonna stop it. And then it's too late, you get too sick, you go to the hospital, and next they're amputating a leg. And then that just reinforces the let's not talk about it, you know? And the more you talk about it, the more you can get to a doctor earlier, the more you can diagnose it quickly or get to the right people and get healthy, you know?
And what's that like? I like that you brought up the you know, you were on a date and somebody brought up this question. So what is navigating when you are, have I frozen right here? I think so. Then I
can
frozen.
hear you now.
Oh,
Yes.
can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was asking, how do you navigate being in a relationship and intimate relationships, really, whether it's romantic or whether it's friends? How do you navigate that space living with your condition?
It's not difficult, but I
It's
do.
not out of the.
I just I
Do
do.
you have to teach? Do you
Yeah,
find yourself having to teach them like
yeah.
this
So
is what it's like and
I
yeah?
mean, I guess on a daily basis, like if you're working or living, not living, sorry, you're working or meeting certain friends, like it's just in those times. So you
Mm,
know that, okay, everyone's going to eat a certain meal. You just say, listen, guys, does everyone know what they're going to eat? Because I need to take my insulin earlier. I'll just say it like
mm,
that. If you're going on a holiday with someone or you're going to be living with someone, it's those
mm,
moments. There's only so much you can explain and give a disclaimer for, because sometimes your sugars will go crazy and you will get into a bad mood. And at those
mm,
moments of time, last thing I want to do is be like, I'm irritated right now because my sugars are high. Because you,
mm.
you're now trying to rationalize your feelings when sometimes you're just feeling crap.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
start explaining how you're feeling, because now you have to do a double job. You can't just feel your feelings. So
Mm,
I tend to give a disclaimer every time, like I've gone out and doing
mm,
something. But then I let
mm,
the rest just go. If my friend is going to judge me for being the way I am, well, then that person's not a good friend. But a lot
mm,
of my
mm,
friends are really great with me. Like they will say, okay, we've chosen really healthy food. We're going to make for tonight. We're going to do this. I have a really supportive set of friends around me. So it's good.
mm. Oh, nice. Nice one. So, I know we are in the last part of our conversation, but I want to talk about the book real quickly and how you decided to get to this point. So, obviously, you have had your YouTube channel. You've spread incredible awareness there. Your videos are so fun to watch, and you dumb down the language around it, so it's easy to understand. Absolutely loved watching them. Yeah, your Instagram page as well. So, at what point did you decide, you know what? Let's do a book.
Do you know what? It was early in the year, and
Mhm,
you know when sometimes some just ideas just pop into your head, just it's like a calling. And I'm like, the
mhm,
whole time I've ever spoken to people, I always take really high level language and make it really simple. And I just thought, I think I was
mhm.
watching Toy Story that weekend because I was so stressed, and I'm like, what I want to do is watch an animated program. And it was I
Which one did you watch? Which one are you watching?
awful. I binged that.
To infinity and beyond.
Yes,
Yay.
absolutely. Every so
Mm,
often when I'm tired of doing my 500 things, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna switch everything off. I'm just gonna watch Pixar. And I just thought,
mm,
I want to create like a Pixar created like character. Something is just cute. It's gonna take your mind off things, but that's gonna
uh,
educate. Like, well, I think I'm like that. But if I put myself as a character and just dumb it down and just it just came like it was just really simple information which I already talk about. It's
mhm,
like the stars aligned, and I'm like, okay. So I did use AI to help me create Jebby the character, but Jebby
mhm.
was named by my nephew. I was like,
Okay.
we were just throwing different names out. He mentioned Jeffy, and then he said Jebby, and I thought Jelly Bean, Jebby, and like a child's not going to be able to say Jelly Bean. A
Yeah.
child will be like, oh, where's Jebby? They're going to see that character when their parents reading it to them at bedtime. Be like Jebby, and that's where Jelly.
Yeah.
And I realized it's just a culmination of everything I've done. Like even with my nieces back home, like that, like young little mini me's, and I'm like, that was the age I was diagnosed. I don't want them to go through life the way. I'm not saying not the way I wanted, how I went through it, but it could have been a lot easier
Mm,
if it was there. Put it in a character that
mm,
I want to look at, and then it's
mhm,
simple information. And it's not just the kids; it's even for the adults. who don't fully understand it, and it's also for parents of or caretakers of type 1 diabetics.
So is this a physical book? Do we have soft copy versions? Is it online? How do we get?
It's a physical book, and it's on Amazon at the moment. I am trying to find a way to bring a bunch of stock to a couple of the stores in Zambia, like Grey Matter, Book World. But for now, it's all on Amazon, and it's just your regular order through One World or whichever way you bring things in. And yeah, it's on Amazon and it's available worldwide.
Nice. So what's next in your awareness campaign, in your career, and the different things that you do?
So,
Have you figured it out, or are you just going with the flow of things?
I'm going through the motions, but definitely a second book coming along. I want to talk about maybe Jebby and his travels, because I want to talk about how I look after myself when I travel, and just make it simplified, like for someone who's looking after diabetic when they go traveling with them, for example. And with the clothing brand, because I focus more on sportswear, and this last trip, it just started building, and it matches what I talk about with healthcare, because you know, you're going to wear sportswear, going to the gym, but you want something that's easy breezy. But then it's African print, which I took some chitenge, I rigged the prints, and I was like, it has to be perfect for Zambia, but at the same time good enough for the diaspora. So when you wear it in England or Florida or wherever you are in the world, you'd be like, I'm wearing my back, because that's where it came from. When I got stuck here, I miss Zambia so much. I'm like, I want to wear Zambian, but that's gonna be able to protect me in this cold weather here. And so we've taken the print and printed it onto jersey fabric. So it's on stretch print, it's on stretch leggings, on hoodies.
Nice.
On that kind of fabric. So it's warm, like it's functional. I made sure it's functional, but it's colors that work. All the colors come from Zambian nature, so jacaranda trees, baobab trees, those are the color themes. And it's just it started building a lot. I've done it for the past 2.5 years, but I think because I was stuck this side, to get the to wear it, know it, and see how to bring it, it's now just bringing awareness to having a Zambian brand that's international enough that we can still wear home, wear abroad. So that's just building on that. There'll be a next collection probably sometime next year. I still want to just feel out this one and another book. So, and probably just need to do some more YouTube channels, YouTube videos. I've got a few under my to-do list, but when I have some time between everything else.
Nice. So as we wrap up our conversation, real quickly, how do we stay in touch with all the amazing things that you're doing? Your social media handles, your pages, name dropped. Yeah, plug us.
So, I have 3 channels on Instagram. So me, myself, and I at Kaajal Vigela. And then my diabetes page at so I called it Diabetes by KC, not like Beats by Dre, but like Beats by KC, like Diabetes.
Yeah.
So at beats.by.kc. But even if you just typed in diabetes, it'll pop up. And then my clothing brand is at _KC Vigela, KCVAGHELA _. So that's all on Instagram. And then on YouTube, I am found at, how does it go? youtube.com/Kaajal Vigela KC.
Okay, nice. So lastly, I have 3 questions. 5 questions, but they might.
I forgot one. Obviously,
Which
the
one?
website. KCVigela.com.
Yes, what's the website?
You can actually order on the website. And just
KCVigela.com.
Yes. And then whatever you order, you send it to your shipping address in the UK, and it gets sent to iShop, One World, whatever you use. So yeah.
All right, nice one. So 3 questions, quick fast. Question number 1, what do you love the most about yourself?
Myself. My mind.
Your mind. What are you working on yourself? Something that you're not too happy about, but you're kind of like putting effort into changing something about it, but it's you.
There's 2 things actually. One is a physical one. I had a hip injury, so I'm doing.
Sorry.
No, it's fine because I got a bit stiff. So I've been working I've been doing reformer Pilates, which I did mostly in Zambia. I'm doing it here, so to help fix my alignment, like the way my posture. I've always thought I was really good, but I think I'm just really stiff. So that's a physical thing I'm trying to change. But in terms of emotional and spiritual, I was gonna say my patience. Sometimes I'm too patient for the wrong things, and sometimes I'm impatient for also the wrong things. So trying to find that balance of patience in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Third thing is, if there's one thing you could change about the world, what would that be?
About the world. I wish people, I mean, I can't change people, but I wish there was more. I would say we have two ears and one mouth. I wish we would listen more and speak less and not judge. Listen and understand before speaking and judging.
That's deep. Well, thank you so much. I know we will stay in touch. Well, I hope we stay in touch, and I hope when you're in Osaka next, you can hit us up. Pardon?
Do another brush challenge.
Let's do another brush challenge. This time, let's do a brush challenge in real life. Yes, we'll figure it out. Like, we'll literally be throwing the brush, and you'll be right there. Like,
on my next trip, we'll do that for sure.
Please. Well, stay well, stay amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us. And yeah, all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so you're just going to cancel for me. Yeah. Bye. Thank you so much. Yay. Oh, that was fun. So much information. I realized just how ignorant I am about a lot of things. So this is how we learn this. Thank you so much once again to Kaajal for just enlightening us on all the amazing things she's doing. So yes, that is what random Michie Zambia's sweetheart is. But to slump. Let me sit up straight. Okay, so I have a full day ahead of me. From now, I need to go pick up an outfit because I have an event. Techno Cameron 20 is launching today. Look at my outfit. Clothes. But real quick, thank you so much to everybody for watching. Tomorrow, there's the Coca-Cola, to get the wording right, Coca-Cola Flavors Festival. Yes. So there'll be a lot of food, lots of Coca-Cola, lots of fun. And I am one of the hosts alongside my co-host on the Breakfast League, Bugsy Zumandolo Kid. So I wanted to do a whole ticket giveaway thing, but looking at time and because I have to run. If you want to come to the Coca-Cola Flavors Festival tomorrow at Gymkhana Showgrounds, just DM me and say, hey yo, I want to come through. I want to come. What's good? And we're going to see how many tickets we can give away from the people that send their DMs. Or, better yet, actually, let's post a picture of you with a Coca-Cola and then tag me and then say ticket. Just say hashtag ticket. And we'll figure out how to get your name on the list. And then you can just come straight to Gymkhana. And yeah, your name will be on the list with the ticket. I think that would be an easier way to do it. So does that make sense? Yes. So final verdict, if you want to come to the Coca-Cola Flavors Festival, post a picture of yourself with the Coca-Cola and just say ticket. Someone says, hi, Michael. Is that like a, what do you call it? Typo. Just Michie. I know, I get it. MK. What's your name? Okay, so yeah, guys, I gotta go. But does that make sense? If you want a ticket, that's all you're gonna have to do. Picture you, Coca-Cola, tag me, put hashtag ticket, we'll get you in. Yeah, so I gotta go. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I will be reposting this so that in case you missed out on this conversation because you're in traffic or still at the office, you can watch it in comfortable time. So I gotta go. Love you. May God go with you before and after you.